Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Growing Full Circle podcast. I am your host Dominique Skates, and Happy New Year! I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I know I did. I enjoyed the time spending with my family. They are my joy. Period. You know, that's the end of the sentence, cause I love them. I really do. But we are in a new year, and I don't know about y'all, but I want to be selfish. I want to no longer think about the holiday gift giving season and just give back to the things that I selfishly love to do and enjoy in my life. So that's what I'm going to do. And one of those things is giving you guys another episode of the podcast, because today is about something that I really enjoy speaking about, and that's talking about perspective. And we're going to use media as sort of our case study, as an example, to talk about perspective and why I really love to address this issue, and not an issue, to address what this means to me and why I feel like it's so important in everyday life. So without further ado, let's get into it. Over the holiday break, my girlfriend and I started to binge watch this show on Hulu called Toni Braxton's Family Values. And if you don't know who Toni Braxton is, who are you? Where have you been? R&B legend Toni Braxton. So yeah, it's a really great show. If you haven't catched or ever seen it, it's pretty old. I think about maybe a decade now. But really good show. So I recommend that you check it out. But one episode in particular is what I want to talk about today, in which Toni's sister Tamar Braxton, also another R&B legend, she just couldn't get out of her own way, in constant arguments with her sister Tracy Braxton, another dancer and performer of the family, who also couldn't get out of her own way in regards to dealing with one another. And these two sisters in particular have many arguments throughout the show. And one theme that I noticed between the arguments is that they never really heard the other one in terms of this. Tracy had issues with her past and being pregnant at the time that all the other sisters were going on tour. So she always felt like she was left out. Tamar's issue was the fact that she, in her life now, feeling very much like the superstar, wanted to be treated as such, where she wanted the red carpet rolled out for her. And if you didn't do that, she took offense to it. And the clash was that each sister would tell the other one how they felt. And then that was the end of the conversation. It was just constant back and forth. I feel this way. Well, I feel this way. Okay, that's cool, but I feel this way. And neither side even stopped to think like, okay, let me stop telling her about how I feel and let me try to understand how she feels. However, these women were smart enough to understand that them trying to communicate amongst each other wasn't working. They needed someone in the middle. So they went to therapy, they went to counseling, and had someone hear both sides so they can understand that you're just not listening. And understanding someone's perspective and getting out of your own way is a life skill that I want to showcase here on today's podcast. build healthy relationships with your family, friends, your coworkers, peers, even within yourself, you need to gain a realistic idea of perspective. And it all starts inside. Like most things in our life, we need to dive into ourselves in order to be successful outside of ourselves. A way that I love to do this within my own life is through examination of media and the information and news that I receive. I question it internally to I am completely satisfied, and using every tool within my means to validate that information is true. For me, as a spiritual person, my ultimate validation is my intuition and my conversations through spirit or through meditation. For others, utilize that gut feeling that you have, that experience, the knowledge that you've gained through your life to question every piece of information, every piece of news that you receive from any source of media. That includes your Facebook posts, that includes your CNN videos, that includes the word of mouth from your friends. Understand both sides. This is incorporating those mindfulness ideas of putting attention and focus into energy, into the things that you find value in. Meaning, if you're so strongly about what you wrote on your last social media post, did you decide or did you do your fact checking? Were you able to look at someone else's perspective or understand why the opposition feels the way that they do? Remove your own thoughts and your own feelings and your own actions and solely focus on that of the other person. It sounds so easy. We're told to do this as even young children. It's not all about you. But even as adults, I continue to find that I is the most prevalent thing, and we don't take the time to examine and deep dive into the other perspective. And that's going back to what I said. It all starts internally. You hear that? In order to understand outside of yourself, you have to understand inside of yourself. It's always going to be a full circle. This is the universe always going to constantly balance. In order to understand your insides, you need to understand your surroundings. Everything outside of yourself. It's extremely profound. It's a constant battle of balance. This is how we achieve true perspective. This is how we achieve peace and harmony within ourselves. This is how we are able to dissect and absorb knowledge in a way that you're not going to feel wrong anymore. You start to understand that wrong and right, light, dark, it's all just a concept. It's a social concept, in my opinion, because it's something that helps us get along and adapt and understand with each other socially. But in terms of reality, in terms of how we live in this universe, it doesn't exist, in my opinion. We're already existing within the reality that has all this love and light in it. You just have to know how to access it. We already exist in the hell that, makes us feel like we are nothing or makes us feel exhausted and damned in some type of damnation. It's already here. People put themselves there all the time. People are existing in a hell. Emotionally, mentally. It's all about how we perceive the information It's all about understanding. It's all about training and guidance. How do you know that information that you received is true and factual? Understand your perspectives. So, I've realized I've gone on a bit of a tangent discussing perspective. As I told you in the beginning, this is something that I really enjoy and love to discuss, but I don't want to go into too much detail for this episode because we would have to get more into mindfulness and self-love, and this episode is about perspective. So as we get more into the podcast, we'll definitely do more of a deep dive into understanding perspective, because I do believe it is a vital life skill, but it just requires more individualized guidance because we're all different, and it all takes a different journey, a different path for us to find true enlightenment within ourselves. But I'm excited for the next episode because we're going to have our very first guest on the podcast. And we're going to be talking about hip hop and how hip hop and rap has really affected my life and the life of our guests as well. So I'm excited for everyone to get to experience another component of the podcast. So make sure you join us next time for episode 3. And thank you for listening. And hopefully you were able to gain a little more insight about yourself today through a little topic about perspective. So hopefully everyone enjoy. And Happy New Year once again. 2023, we're expecting big things as usual. So I hope everyone really has a blessed one. So thank you for joining me on Growing Full Circle. I am your host, Dominique Skates, and stay blessed.